Hey everybody, Chris Lambert here with the March, what is it, like second, third, fourth, second through fifth Kanye West news roundup on behalf of Watching the Throne, a lyrical analysis of Kanye West. So starting off, what might be the most exciting news, but exciting in the way that it's just like, feed me already. Please, for the love of God, Kanye, feed me already. King Louis, who you might remember from Send It Up, has collaborated with Kanye on Yeezus, on The Life of Pablo, put on Instagram that he was in Jackson, Wyoming, which in and of itself might not be that meaningful. But as Team Kanye Daily has reported, that Kanye has been in Jackson for a few days. And if you remember, he's been there for the last... He's been there a few times over the last year, ostensibly working on music. We were told that he went up to a mountain in Wyoming to work on music. So the fact that he went out there with Pusha T and with one of his engineers, which Team Kanye Daily confirmed, and now that King Louie's there, it seems like the music is starting to reach that next level to where he's having other people come in, help him refine. Does that mean it's imminent? Lord only knows, you know? But I hope so. I hope so. Next up, there's an article on sohh.com. I don't know what that is, but I've now been to that website, by Chris Gossens. And it was Kanye West, 5 things you probably didn't know about his Yeezy season. And it's cool. Season 1 was a failure, and it talks about the reactions to Yeezy Season 1. And it's a very like pro Kanye article. Number 2, Kanye has beef with Nike. Number 3, he wants to run Hermes. 4, Ye helped Kylie Jenner begin her modeling career. And his shows put him $53 million in debt. So each of those 5 things has paragraphs of conversation or perspective that Chris has added on that was interesting to read, because some of it's stuff that I heard back when these things were happening, but to kind of get that recap and get the perspective on it was fun. It's a good article. So that link will be down in the description area. On the Keeping Up with the Kardashians season finale, they revealed the surrogate that Kim and Kanye used. I haven't watched the clip that shows the surrogate. I watched a clip of the clip that shows the surrogate where they didn't show the surrogate. You'd think I'd then take the time to see the surrogates, but I didn't. So that's a reality we all have to live in now. But if you're curious about that at all, you can now find what the surrogate looks like and get some of the details about that. Jake Wolf from GQ, who comes up all the time, who one day will give a story, I'm sure, even though every time I tweeted at him, never get a response. He wrote an article about Kanye West debuted new Yeezy Boost 700s, and these are the like grayish kind of the 700s, and you get some of the backstory of the 700, some thoughts on it. So if you're a sneakerhead or a shoe head and like the Kanye shoes, this is the article for you. TMZ has an update on Kim and Kanye's house. The new pool has been dug. So famously, this house has spent years being renovated. They bought it, didn't like a lot of how it was laid out, a lot of the interiors, a lot of the backyard. So there's been a humongous undertaking to get the house into what Kim and Kanye deem livable conditions. Or not, I guess livable is not. You don't want all that construction going on when you have little kids there. But just to get it to the spot they want it to be. So they finally had moved in, and now the pool is getting ready to be finished, and it's a gigantic pool. So hopefully one day he has a party for us all, and we all get to go jump in the pool, hang out, listen to some new music. It's going to be stellar. I can see it now. Over the weekend, Kanye attended the Gagosian in Los Angeles, art gallery, where they celebrated Damien Hirst's opening. This is an article on Vogue by Cameron Bird. And this is kind of a star-studded event each year. I don't think I'm saying Gagosian right. But each year that art gallery has a special opening that coincides with the Oscar weekend. So Kanye was there. There's actually someone from our Kanye that got to meet Kanye while they were there, which, here. I have it. So this user on Reddit said that she was really fucking nervous. So my first thought, or he or she, so my first thought was like, how the fuck do I start a conversation with this without him getting mad, ignoring me? When there were some people fighting to talk to him. But I remember my cousin had met him, taken a photo with him, talked to him at length at one of his shows because he had to connect somehow. Her cousin, I'm assuming girl, because she had a girl roommate, was on the reality show $1 Million Listing. So I whipped that shit out, and after a convo with him and this artist who was forcing his card on Kanye, the conversation was fizzling out because Kanye kept shifting around. I quickly interjected while my hands were literally shaking nonstop and said, "Hey, do you remember meeting my cousin?" And I showed him the picture, which is a nice in. He smiled and was like, "Oh, yeah, that was a fun night." I'm pretty sure he didn't remember, but he was being nice. That's when I put my hand out to shake his and introduce myself. I shook Kanye's hand. I went on to say, honestly, can't remember most of it because all the alarms in my head were going off and I felt faint. Along the lines of, my cousin really appreciated speaking to him and couldn't stop talking about how inspirational he was. Kanye just smiling and nodding and saying, yeah, it lasted a few minutes, but that was it. Oh, and the roommate part got taken out, so I'm sorry to your roommates for bringing it back up again that she drove Kanye away. But that's really cool. I love hearing these positive interactions that Kanye fans have with Kanye. There's so many of them, rather than just going up and be like, Kanye, and him being like, yo, get the fuck away. So that was awesome to read. What else do we got? I'm looking at the webpage and it wasn't opening because it said that it was taking up sufficient energy. Weird. Anyway, so this next article is by Fisher Jack on YourWeb, Electronic Urban Report. Why Kim Kardashian and Kanye's West's offspring Saint was hospitalized. And it's just a story detailing that Saint had pneumonia and kind of what fears it would be with a 2-year-old having pneumonia, how Kim and Kanye were on hospital duty, and by Saint's side, 24 hours. He was only hospitalized for 3 days and then got to go home, which was just before New Year's. So if you're curious about some more details about that event, this article covers that. Next up is the fact that Jaden Smith did an interview with Complex. And in it, Complex asked him what his rapping career has meant with Jaden's relationship with Kanye, Drake, Donald Glover. And they framed it that Jaden's response was, I always felt like little homie before, and that allowed me in all of their circles. Now that I'm on the charts next to them, I'm not really little homie anymore. And Complex then said, oh, so are you getting accepted by them now? They look at you as like more of a peer. And he said, no, it's more like you can't hang out with us anymore. We didn't know you were making an album this whole time. We thought you were just little homie giving us free water and shit. You're not really cool with us anymore. And then the article continued. The thing that I can't find, though, is any outlet reporting on the fact that Jaden apparently took to Twitter to claim that he never said these things in response to that. The Complex framed the question in a way that wasn't true to what they actually asked him. That he never said this about Kanye, Drake, etc. So I don't know what's true here. Jaden's deleted the tweets since then, so I don't know if it's kind of the thing where he tweeted it, let it be there for a little while, and then deleted it because that's what people do sometimes, if it's just like Jaden being an artist kind of thing, or if it's something where Complex is like, hey, we have audio of it being exactly how he said it was, and Jaden's like, delete. I don't know. Complex never updated their article in response to Jaden being upset. No other outlets that I could find wrote about it. Hip Hop Heads had a post about it, but it was only a link to the tweet that Jaden deleted, and the only comments on it are asking what was said. So maybe somebody will have some screenshots. I'm not internet savvy enough to go to archives and find out what was said, but if you are, I could use your help. I'm very curious about what he had said in response, but it's either that he was being kind of egotistical for a second, or, if they did do that to him, if Drake and Kanye and Gambino were kind of like, oh, you've been making music, get the fuck out of here. I don't know if it was like that. I'd imagine if we're taking what he said at face value, it'd kind of be something like, hey, do you want to be on my album? And they're like, no, you got to do things your own way. Like, we like you, we can't help you. And he's kind of like, I thought we were friends. No. I don't know. But I guess it's something to see how it unfolds. A few more things, a handful more. The Glorious Sons, a rock band, they just did a rock cover of Runaway, which is more like low-key alt-rock acoustic cover of Runaway, but it sounds really cool. As a rock and roll fan or an alt-rock fan, I'm into what they did. There have been a lot of Runaway covers lately, with the Gainsborough cover, the cover that Westworld did, this cover. It seems to be all the rage to do a Runaway cover, which I'm all about. I encourage every artist out there to do a Runaway cover. But this one is one of my favorites so far. So there'll be a link to that. I guess Kim and Kanye really love. Well, this is a Radar article, so it might just be a fucking lie. But it's saying that Kanye and Kim want to do portraits in the style that Obama and Barack and Michelle got their presidential portrait and First Lady portrait done, and that Kanye started reaching out to artists to get samples. And it says that they, what was it? He loves the paintings of Michelle and Barack and is researching which artist should capture him and her for the National Portrait Gallery. The only problem is the gallery has expressed zero interest in hanging a painting of either Kanye or his wife, which might just be their attempt at like humor, but which got a laugh for me. I think the National Portrait Gallery would be honored to have a portrait of Kim and Kanye. Actually, as a wedding present, and I kid you not, as a wedding present to my fiance, which is next year, the wedding, I'm going to get a portrait done of her cat, our cat, Felix, his head on Bill Clinton's body and Bill Clinton's presidential portrait. So that's been in the cards for a couple of years now, because it's just hilarious to me. So the fact that they want to get some portraits done, I support that. I think everybody needs their own portrait, you know? Even cats. So Valley, who's the newest Good Music signing, just had his EP dropped, and it was executive produced by Kanye. I listened to it, and it was cool. I didn't really hear anything that made me think Kanye on it as executive producer. It felt very kind of in line with what I expect from like the current trend of hip hop music. More in that Cruel Summer vein of things and that post Cruel Summer vein of sounds. It was cool. well done. Didn't necessarily stand out in any way, but I'm looking forward to what comes next. There's an article on Medium by Ramon Mama, and it says Rap's Misunderstood, or it's titled Rap's Misunderstood Mastermind, What Happened to the Old Kanye? And this is an article by a Kanye fan who had been in on the first 3 albums, taken a break, and recently returned to Kanye. In terms of the lyrical assessment and Kanye's arc, it actually talks about a lot of what we talk about on the podcast, which was cool to see. I mean, maybe he's listened to the podcast, I hope. Or, it's just somebody else coming to the same conclusions that we've come to based on analyzing the work, which I feel like thousands of people could do. These aren't like some secret code that we alone can decode. But I think it's nice to see somebody else talking about these things, because I feel like we've been ahead of the curve talking about Kanye's artistry and the narrative and thematic development of his works over time, and that's something where we're talking about it now, but it's something everybody's going to be talking about soon enough. And just to see another article, another drop in the bucket, right? So there'll be a link down there. It's a well-written one. I think people will enjoy it. 3 more, and then we're done. Or 2 more. Kim posted on Instagram that her hair inspiration is this anime character with pink hair. And Venom Phoenix on Our Kanye said that this character is from Darling in the Franxx, Franxx. There's probably some cool way to say that I don't know, is the anime that this character is from. So I liked some of the comments here. Wet Paint said, y'all think Kanye and Kim have a Crunchyroll account? Probably. And Add My RSN said, I honestly didn't believe my friend when he sent me a picture of this, which is funny. So yeah, anime's on a pretty big upswing right now. Kanye loves anime. Michael B. Jordan loves anime. I feel like there was just somebody else famous that was talking about how much they love anime. Anime's awesome. And then lastly, The Most Unruly, formerly Noisy Images, has released a new video, Kanye West and Madlib, The Making of No More Parties in LA, which just kind of traces the history of the release of No More Parties in LA, Madlib as a producer, and kind of the combination of Kanye and Madlib. So shorter video from The Most Unruly, but very interesting, very Kanye-driven, like a lot of the content, and very fascinating. So highly recommend watching that. And that concludes today's longish recap of the Kanye West news. Thank you for staying with us. With us, it's just me sitting here alone. But thanks for watching. We are going to be dropping our new episode tomorrow. It's our lyrical analysis of The Glory. And on Friday, we're going to be releasing our Story with Joe Perez, who was Kanye's blog curator and then lead art director of Donda for 8 years? A long time. Worked with Kanye for 8 years. So look forward to that. And I'll be saying that throughout the week. So don't look forward to me repeating myself, but if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's @Kanye Podcast. And if you would like to support us in a way that's not just subscribing or following on Twitter, but giving some money, that's Patreon, www.kanyepodcast.com patreon.com/Kanye Podcast. And now I'm going to get on with my life. So I hope you have a great rest of the day. Keep it wavy.